One of the rarest dragon-related items in Magic the Gathering's history has just been created. And on top of that, we have two Commander-focused judge promos to talk about as well.
Magic. I am a wizard! History. I'm an old wizard! The Magic Historian. My bones hurt.
Greetings! Owners of fine luxury cardboard rectangles, my friends, I hope the day finds you well, because we are here for a very fun installment of Mega Magic News! We are here to discuss the Magic the Gathering Dragon Collection, and also talk about a couple of new judge promos that are definitely going to make Commander players happy. Now, this Dragon book is both going to make people happy and unhappy. And by that I mean there are a ton, and I mean a ton, of dragon collectors when it comes to Magic the Gathering. And it makes sense. Dragons are one of fantasy's most prolific and impressive creature types, right? Dragons in some settings are near godlike beings with incredible powers, right? Not only are they insanely strong and can breathe fire, sometimes cast magical spells, they can also soar through the sky, right? Compared to being a human, a dragon would be amazing. It's pretty easy to understand why Sark and Vol is so obsessed with dragons. They're really, really cool. So, this is the Magic the Gathering Dragons Collection. It is a miniature book, okay? And inside of it, they have printed all of these different dragons. And you can see there are a fat number of pages in this book. Now, the details about this are actually kind of hard to ferret out. And part of that is basically due to a language barrier. I don't really speak Japanese. Google Translate doesn't always come through. So trying to sift through exactly what's going on here has been somewhat challenging. I have no idea exactly how many different pages that the book contains and all of the different dragons that they've chosen to include. But if you take a look at the cover, you can see that this is connected to the release of the Dungeons and Dragons set. It has a very awesome looking logo where you have the Planeswalker symbol and the Dungeons and Dragons ampersand intertwined. And I really love the fact that they turned the "and" in the Dungeons and Dragons into a dragon symbol. It fits so well. I still haven't gotten over that. I know they made that the symbol a long time ago, but it still tickles me pink. I find it delightful. So, this is totally focused on dragons specifically because of Dungeons and Dragons. Now, as I said, the details are difficult to come by because this is a Japanese release item. According to the information that's available, there may only be 50 of these in existence in their entirety, which is absolutely insane and also realistically heartbreaking for a lot of dragon collectors, right? I mean, the fact of the matter is, this is really, really neat. Just a little miniature pocket guide to take a look at all these different cards. I mean, I guess you could cut them out and use them as proxies. I know people who did that sort of thing with the old Magic encyclopedias. They just kind of cut the little cards that were in their own, put them in their little penny sleeves and went, this is the card that I'm using. But I figure with something this rare, it would kind of be a travesty to destroy it. So it may end up at some point that this shows up on like an eBay listing where you may be able to acquire one. But my understanding is that they were given out to particular followers of the Japanese Magic the Gathering Twitter account. Now, I, for the life of me, can't understand a few different things. First of all, why would they only limit it to Japan, right? And then secondly, why is the cover of the book in English when almost every card inside it appears to be printed in Japanese, right? With the exception of things like the lightning dragon that's being shown on the screen here, because that one apparently didn't have a Japanese printing. I can't recall when they started printing Magic cards in Japanese. However, this is definitely one of the absolute rarest dragon-related items, and I imagine that a like mint condition variation of this will actually command a hefty price tag. Now, this is a really cool concept from like a tribal fan item. You know what I mean? Like you could do this with any number of different things. You could do one with demons, angels, vampires, goblins, like the list goes on. Elves, there are tons of people. Slivers, Eldrazi, although the Eldrazi, there's not really that many to make a book out of, but you get the point, right? This could be a whole series. Although some of what makes this feel so amazing is the fact that it is super rare. I don't know about you guys, but when something is rarer, I don't know, there's just something that goes off in my brain that makes it more important to me. Like I've noticed whenever I get one of those little blind bags, it doesn't matter what it's for. Do you know what I mean? Like Futurama or whatever, you want the robot devil with the little fiddle, right? Like you want the super rare crack. Even from franchises I am not familiar with whatsoever. I look on the legend there and I'm like, which one's the super rare one? You want the hardest to get ones. I guess maybe it just has something to do with like animal nature, but I don't know what it is that draws me to things that are specifically rare. But that's definitely the case with this book, on top of the fact that it's just a really neat magic related item. But I imagine I will never end up owning one of these because there's not going to be enough to go around, and the ones that do make it out into the wild from the original release are going to end up with people who will probably cling on to them. So this is definitely going to be a collector's item on a high level, at least in my opinion. Maybe I'm overhyping it, but I just feel like with the combination of the rarity of it, the fact that it's dragon based, those two really go together well to say, all right, this is going to do pretty well on the secondary market. Now, that's not the only thing we have to talk about. I said we also have commander-centered Judge promos from the Judge Academy. You guys remember this? If you don't know what the Judge Academy promos are, because thinking about it now, people may not know. There was a change, I guess, within the last, was it 2 years? I don't even know, man. Everything starts to blend together. Anyways, for the longest time, the Judge program was basically somewhat of a separate entity from Wizards of the Coast, but Wizards of the Coast would end up like running it kind of like at arm's length, but not really. And that resulted in lawsuits and bad feels. And it actually almost ended up with Wizards of the Coast completely abolishing the Judge program altogether. And they were just going to basically go, you don't need judges to run tournaments. If you have your own shop, you can just run tournaments, whatever. Like higher level events maybe would need somebody to run them, but overall, don't worry about it. That was going to be the attitude about judges. But the Judge Academy basically came through and was like, why don't we do certification off to the side? So Judge promos used to be given out by Wizards of the Coast to people who ran particular level events and things like that. But now it's done through a like paid, get your credit from us, but you also get the Judge promos sort of scenario where, at last I checked, it's $100 a year, and you will get like occasional mailings out of these Judge promos that have this particular owl watermark. So if you've seen this watermark before, that is the Judge Academy watermark. And in my opinion, the Judge Academy foils aren't quite on the same level as the original Judge foils, because the original Judge foils were more difficult to get. With this, it's basically pay a membership fee and you get these foils, which is not a knock against the card or the cards they include as promos. It's really just stating that they're not really as hyped up. They're not as hard to acquire, because anybody who's willing to pay them $100 a year and fill out like some forms and answer some questions is going to be able to get these promos, which makes them a little less prestigious. It makes them a little less valuable in the secondary market. But the cards that they're choosing for these promos are well chosen because they're specifically targeting commander, and they're picking specific commanders that have genuine demand behind them, which is a smart move, because especially with the given climate of what's going on in the world now, judges are in smaller demand than ever before, right? How many physical events have even been ongoing? So you've got that scenario to look at. So we've got the first promo here, which is Morophon the Boundless, which is a 7 casting cost legendary shapeshifter. As Morophon the Boundless enters the battlefield, choose a creature type. Spells of the chosen type you cast cost 1 white, 1 blue, 1 black, 1 red, and 1 green less to cast. This effect reduces only the amount of colored mana you pay. So for example, if you had a spell that cost 1 red, 1 white, and 3, then this would reduce that just down to the generic 3. It would remove the white and the red from the casting cost and cover it, but it wouldn't let you take the blue, black, and green and apply it towards the 3 part of the casting cost. So it literally only cares about specific mana symbols and nothing else. So obviously, this is really attractive in terms of crazy nonsense. Like, let's say you're a sliver enthusiast. You could be playing all the different colors of slivers, and a lot of slivers cost like 1 mana of a particular color and 1 mana more or whatever. So you'd basically be able to have your whole rainbow of slivers and get reductions on all of their different casting costs, which is pretty sweet. And it also says other creatures you control of the chosen type get +1/+1. So essentially, this is a mega lord, right? This is a choose your own adventure style lord where it is everything and you can kind of like hone it in. So it's a shapeshifter who he just shows up and he's like, who do you want me to be, boss? And then he exemplifies it on such a huge level that everybody's just like, oh, the Lord has come. And we've got a crazy new set of art, not set, I should say, piece of artwork here where you can see that Morophon is just towering up into the sky, and it looks like he's taken on the form of a beast, right? You can see it's got these horny kind of spikes coming off of him. Feels like somewhat Baloth-ish, but at the same time, the face has like this mannish aspect to it as well, all like human-like. So when you look at it, it doesn't immediately scream exactly one type of creature, but you can see things around it that gives kind of a tranquil vibe to it, making it feel like it's at ease around all creatures. Like you have the birds that are flying away, but that could be in any kind of artwork. I think what's more telling is it looks like there's a little stag that's down there by Morophon's legs. And with a beast this big, if it felt like a genuine threat, that stag would be charging off into the forest. And I think what the most striking part of the artwork to me, though, is what looks like Morophon's heart is actually kind of visible through the body. Like if you look in the chest, it looks like there's a massive heart with 3 kind of veiny tendrils reaching up into his thick, I've been working out all night neck. I didn't skip neck week. Hi-ya! I can't do it because I don't got a fat. I got a fat neck, but it's like a flab neck, not a beef boy. Like check it out. My neck goes like this. You know what I'm talking about? Anyways, he's got that kind of a bodybuilder vibe, but the heart is very striking, is it not? So this, to me, is a great choice, considering that this was only, as far as I understand, only printed in the One Modern Horizon set. These are difficult to come by overall, so maybe they did reprint it one other time, but I feel like they haven't really had that much time even to reprint it, unless they stuck it in a secret layer. I'm going to be honest. Even though I specifically spend my time talking about Magic all the time, it has become increasingly difficult to keep up with everything that's going on. But anyhow, let's move on to the other commander that we're going to talk about, and that is Zacama, Primal Calamity. 1 white, 1 green, 1 red, and 6 for a 9/9 legendary elder dinosaur. I love gigantic creatures, man. It's just satisfying. And slap a bunch of abilities on it gets even better. So you got Vigilance, Reach, Trample. When Zacama Primal Calamity enters the battlefield, if you cast it, untap all lands you control. Because why not? Why not, on top of getting a 9/9 Vigilance, Reach, Trample with other abilities we're going to talk about, why not also untap all of your lands? It's insane. 1 red and 2, it deals 3 damage to target creature. 1 green and 2, destroy target artifact or enchantment. 1 white and 2, you gain 3 life. This card is a house. I mean, it is massive, right? First of all, it's gigantic, so it's going to smash face. Even in Commander, where you start with like way more life than usual, that 9/9 body is a genuine threat. And when you put it out right away, you're like, oh, guess what? I spent 9 mana. I've untapped at least 9 mana. I can probably do all 3 of these abilities or multiple iterations in one turn. Like when you look at it, you go, oh, 3 mana, 3 damage to target creature. That's not too bad. But then you realize, wait, it doesn't tap. It doesn't have restrictions. So you can literally put it out and go, boom. Okay, I cast Zacama. I untap all my lands. Bam! I blow away that creature with 9 damage. Do you know, like, this is a real powerhouse. And if you didn't realize, over time, like, this was originally from the Ixalan block, which wasn't that long ago. But this card has climbed up in value considerably. It's causing a bunch of people to be shocked and go, wait, I thought this was like a $10 card. It's like, nah, triple that, son. So this is definitely a card that's had its value ratcheting up over time because of Commander. And I think that picking Commander for Judge promos in this case was a really smart move. I have no qualms about the cards they have selected. So that wraps up the news of interest, my friends. If you enjoy what I'm doing here, consider supporting the channel on Patreon. Big shout out to all my patrons, and I'll see you, my friends, for the next video.